Welcome to Coffee and Revelation. It's Friday. We are in Revelation chapter 13 and still in Brisbane. And we're at verse 5 to verse 10. Let me read it. The beast was given a mouth to utter proud words and blasphemies and to exercise its authority for 42 months. It opened its mouth to blaspheme God and to slander his name and his dwelling place and those who live in heaven. It was given power to wage war against God's holy people and to conquer them. And it was given authority over every tribe, people, language, and nation. All inhabitants of the earth will worship the beast, all whose names have not been written in the Lamb's book of life, the Lamb who was slain from the creation of the world. Whoever has ears, let him hear. If anyone is to go into captivity they will go. If anyone is to be killed with the sword they will be killed. This calls for patient endurance and faithfulness on the part of God's people. Well, I think this is an extraordinary passage in many, many ways, but we see this beast is a parody of Christ, okay? This beast that almost died, as we saw yesterday, that people thought might have been referring to Nero. And notice what happens with this beast. The beast is given authority for a limited period of time, 42 months. And he has authority and he uses proud words and blasphemy. And he uses that to blaspheme God and to slander his name and dwelling. Now, again, I think that many of those in political authority today need to realize they've been given authority for a time. And that authority should be used for good and not to blaspheme God and not for proud words. I just keep hearing so many proud words from the leader. I heard Joe Biden a while ago saying America can do whatever it wants to do. Just put our mind to it. We can do anything. No, you can't. We hear the same from many political leaders. And sadly, far too often we hear blasphemy from them. They slander his name and dwelling. I think sometimes some of us as Christians have become too, how will I put it, blasé about blasphemy. We use God's name, even some Christians use God's name as a kind of full stop or even as a swear word. We think, what does it matter? Well, God's name is really precious and it really, really does matter. The beast also wages war and conquers God's people. We don't like that, do we? He was given power to wage war against God's holy people and to conquer them. We shall overcome. We shall not be defeated. Oh yeah? Who says that? How did we come to that conclusion? That's not what the Bible says. Ultimately, at the end of all things, that will be the case. But we can lose battles here on earth. He was given authority to wage war. And the inhabitants of the earth worship the beast because he's got authority over every tribe, people, nation and tongue. Now that goes back to Revelation 7, where every tribe, people, nation and tongue are represented in heaven. But the beast is also there in every nation, tribe, people and tongue. And in verse 9, he uses something that Jesus said, if you've got ears, let them hear. And he's saying, listen to this. If you're going to go into captivity, you're going to go into captivity. If you're going to be killed, you're going to be killed. But just patient endurance and faithfulness on the part of God's people. Patient endurance and faithfulness. And I think there are some of us who need to hear that word, that we need to endure. Yes, in this life, sometimes we will find that God will act in this life to help us and to aid us. But other times we'll find it much more difficult. And sometimes we'll get to a point where, well, we die. But for the Christian, that's not the end, of course. And if we're going to go into captivity, we're going to go into captivity. But this is what we have to do as God's people. In the midst of a hostile and perverse culture, we need to patiently endure and be faithful to what God says. Well, join us on Sunday for Songs for Sunday. I should be back in Dundee by then. Dundee. What's I saying? I'll be back in Sydney by then. I won't be back in Dundee. And next Monday we'll come to look at the second beast out of Revelation. And next week at some point we will get to the number of the beast, so famous in so many different ways. But see you then. Have a great weekend. God bless. Bye.